Hey there, viewers, subscribers, and newcomers. Welcome back. It's Retro Night. Surrender now or prepare to fight. We are back with Pokemon Scarlet and Violet VGC with a team I have not revealed, and I think it's time to put it onto the big screen. If you don't want to watch the team preview, no worries. Click the timestamp in the comment section down below, and it'll take you right into the battles. I am super excited to get this series started off. We've got a team with the Redfish. Bruxish from good old Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. You might be like, Retro, there's a Miraidon on your team. You're right, but I promise you, you will really like the, I guess, interaction with this team. It is something I'm quite sure you've never seen before. But without stalling, let's jump into it, see how it went down, and get right into the action. My opponent has a very threatening first team. In fact, his entire team is a threat. It's so threatening, we didn't even need to go. We jumped directly in here. He is leading off with Lunala and Rillaboom. And the whole idea of this team is I've used Farigiraf with Armor Tail before. Now, you guys may not know Bruxish's hidden ability, but trust me, it's going to come gleaming into play here in just a very brief moment. We're going to get some Intimidate action going on against the Rillaboom. Now, I've got a really good matchup here because I can Terrastalize into Grass to deal with Rillaboom on either Bruxish or Incineroar. By the way, guys, the support lately has been overwhelming. Do yourselves a favor, pat yourselves on the back, smash that like button, leave a comment in the comment section down below, and if you know the music that we're kicking in today's show, drop a comment down below and let me know. Hint, 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 it's from my favorite game series of all time. But, let's go ahead and get into it. I'm going to Terrastalize into Grass and Incineroar. That's going to make my matchup better versus Rillaboom, and most things he has on his team, not really. Incineroar is kind of a weird matchup. Oh, by the way, Bruxish is going to show off its dazzling abilities, which makes it so no priority moves actually hit. Kind of the same idea with Armor Tail. The only difference is it works for both, but it's different than Armor Tail quite a bit because you can actually still use priority attacks on yourself. We'll get into that later. Shadow Shield might be an issue in some circumstances, but in the case scenario where I've got a big old crunch from this big old Redfish, and also the knockoff from the Incineroar, we take out Lunala in one shot. Also, Bruxish just looks like it naturally can Terrastalize into Grass. It's got the little grass fin, both on the back and the front. It's kind of crazy. And I think it's hilarious because they don't really expect it, you know? You don't expect such a gleaming, beautiful fish. And I've actually never really liked this Pokemon. I've really liked Veluza a lot more. But let me tell you something. I have used this fish twice in different ways. I think I can find the old video if you want to click the link down below in the description where I set it up as a Trick Room Sweeper. The cool thing, though, the Psychic Stab typing is really good with Psychic Terrain because then you don't have to invest extra because you have that Psychic Terrain boost off of Psychic Fangs for things like Urshifu, plus preserving that Focus Sash. I will say, similarly to Farigiraf, Bruxish only needs to be on the field. It doesn't necessarily have to do anything or interact in any kind of way on the field as long as it's on the field to use its dazzling ability where fake outs cannot happen. Alright, so he finally goes into his Incineroar, and I'm thinking, okay, I just need to U-turn out of here. I guess great minds think alike, because he decides to U-turn on Whimsicott and go back into his Pokemon. I'm going to U-turn on his Incineroar so that I can bring it back later and get a Intimidate of my own. Plus, I'm not interested in taking a Flare Blitz from this thing. And I want to preserve Incineroar both for Intimidate and also, since it's Grass Terrastalization, in order to match up better versus Rillaboom. Remember how I said Bruxish doesn't actually need to do anything except interact on the field? One really cool intricacy is that even Psychic Terrain cannot stop self-targeted priority attacks. And that is exactly what I have devised here. My thought process was basically this, okay? Terrain's kind of rule Regulation G right now. So if you are going to have Terrains, basically Rillaboom, you're going to struggle with things like Miraidon because they're going to lose special attack. So in the case scenario right here, I'm actually doing just fine because I'm swapping in and setting up the Hadron engine, which boosts my special attack massively. However, when Rillaboom switches in, it of course gets that grassy terrain, and that grassy terrain reduces my special attack. So I mitigate this by having an Absorb Bulb on Miraidon, because turning into Electric and even just Dragon, I still resist that hit because it's a weak Aqua Jet. Gives me that extra special attack bonus, and let me tell you what, I'm about to put it to good use. This Flare Blitz does nothing because I'm still Dragon type. Actually did quite a nice little chunk. He's damaged by the recoil, and now I've got everything set up the way that I want to. I've got extra power even if he swaps out Rillaboom to come back later to set up grassy terrain to reduce the special attack of my Miraidon. I still go back to neutral special attack thanks to the Absorb Bulb. And that being said, I also carry the Dragon Pulse, so I don't have to rely on using my Electric Stab to try to wear down Rillaboom. And you might be like, well, Assault Vest Rillaboom, and also, Retro, why are you not running Draco Meteor? Because after Absorb Bulb, I can use the same power or stronger Dragon Pulse, and I don't have to worry about those special attack drops. However, the nuke alongside Draco Meteor after an Absorb Bulb boosted off of Aqua Jet would be catastrophic. Speaking of catastrophic, he brings in this Urshifu. I'm assuming thinking that he can take down Miraidon. Remember when I said once you Terrastalize and you lose that dragon resistance, even if you were Fairy, then Scarfed Urshifu Water with Terrastalize Water becomes one of the biggest threats in the game because it just mows through everything. However, you are not protected by Fake Out. So I'm going to go ahead and Fake Out into Dragon Pulse, and that knocks out the Urshifu with that nice boosted special attack. Now, admittingly, Assault Vest Rillaboom is a bit difficult to take down with this set. My opponent makes a really good play right here, going for the Parting Shot and then into Rillaboom. So not only do they get the -1 special attack off of Parting Shot, they also reduce my special attack by removing my Hadron Engine completely from the game. Also, guys, I very, very much apologize for being really nasally. You know, it's starting to be summer, and pollen's going to fall, and sinuses. They're lovely. Alright, so he goes into Rillaboom, and I've still got Incineroar with the Grass Terrestrialization, which is nice, and he still has his own Incineroar. So, at some point, there's a matchup in which I have to either sack Whimsicott or sack Incineroar. Obviously, I'm going to sack Whimsicott. I need Incineroar. I was kind of thinking knockoff into Rillaboom, but then I was like, he's probably just going to Flare Blitz that spot, and I'm willing to lose my Whimsicott to bring Incineroar in again. And then I was like, I could just go for Dragon Pulse, do massive damage to Rillaboom, which I feel like I kind of have to do, because at the end of the day, I'm going to have to rely on Flare Blitzing his Incineroar after it already takes damage, since it's so hard to take down. But unfortunately, because my fish is gone, now the Fake Out can come through, and after that, that Flare Blitz goes away. So it looks like I decide to bring Whimsicott. So now I'm kind of thinking Discharge is kind of a problem because it's not strong enough to overboost over Rillaboom and Incineroar. So my only hope here is that the fact that I'm Dragon and I can resist these hits. Now, he could go very easily for a high horsepower. But then I was like, you know what? I've got a pretty cool idea. Even if he is Assault Vest, even after Parting Shot, even after Grassy Terrain, I'm going to offset all of those changes by going for the Fake Tears. Because even if he takes down Whimsicott, the only problem on this team is Rillaboom because of high horsepower. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this opportunity right now to go for the Fake Tears with Whimsicott. That -3 special attack is going to offset the difference between the Parting Shot and the Grassy Terrain being set up. Now that Rillaboom is at -2 special defense. And I don't care about Grassy Terrain. I don't care about Assault Vest. I don't care about anything. That does a lot of damage. We live high horsepower on 19. He decides to eviscerate me off the map with a Flare Blitz, which is completely fine. Let's see. So from this range, he's at really low health. And I don't know if you guys are thinking what I'm thinking, but I'm pretty sure I can just go for a Discharge here. And you're going to be like, well, Retro, you can't do that. And I'm like, well, I kind of can. Dragon Pulse would wipe that out, but then I'd not be able to take a Flare Blitz from Incineroar, so... He goes for a Grassy Glide, though, and ends me anyway, because I don't have my fish on the field. And, hey, you got to see the amazing Aqua Jet into the Absorbable Miraidon. That is the first game. I didn't have enough power to get rid of both of them. But I tell you what, round 2, it's time for the Shock Herd Round the World. Let's jump into the bonus game. Thunder, rain and lightning. Oh, sorry, one of the best songs in another game series. But we're not here to talk about that. Round 2, Koraidon, Whimsicott, Farigiraf, Incineroar, Chien-Pao, and Raging Bolt. If I was to tell you that this whole team is classified as a threat, well, that's exactly what it is. Incineroar is terrifying, but less terrifying with Dazzling. And Raging Bolt is always terrifying. There was a tournament or series of games I had played in, I think, of quite a few times where Raging Bolt was a fairy type. As always, if you want to jump directly into that action, no worries. Just click that down below, and we can go into the second game. I got some more amazing tunes for you to rock out to as we go ahead and get directly into this game for bonus match and round number 2 of... No, not Season 16. I'm sorry. That's a different video. Of good old Regulation G of Bruxish and Miraidon. Let's get it going. He leads with Tailwind and Koraidon. He is not messing about in any way. This is Tailwind and Koraidon right now to try to Dragon Claw me into oblivion and knock me out. At least so I'm thinking with the Orichalcum Pulse. Of course, that does set up the Massive Sunlight, but I'm okay with that. Because I can either just protect on this first turn, or I could go directly into my Aqua Jet combo into my Absorb Bulb and just damage whatever I want to. I see this Dragon Claw coming a mile away, and I'm completely okay with him being faster with Tailwind, because then I can just set up my Tailwind later, and he can't knock me out with a Dragon Claw without going for Helping Hand, which he will waste that complete turn if he does not set up the Tailwind right off. I know this is coming, so now it is time for the Shock Herd Around the World, and the music later on will demonstrate this. But it's kind of like a two-pronged musical score this time. Part of it is for Bruxish, and part of it is for Miraidon. By always, if you know the music we're kicking in today, drop a comment down below and let me know, and major hype from the games that they come from. Alright, so he does go up and set up that Tailwind as I go ahead and Terastallize into my Electric type, as he U-turns onto Bruxish, which knocks me down to my Focus Sash. I'm okay with it. I'm good with it. I've got the Aqua Jet, I've got the Absorb Bulb, I've got a massive special attack rating, and I am ready to absolutely light up this arena with my electrical attacks. It kind of looks a lot like the Electrodome from Mario Party. Anyway, he comes in to take this Dragon Pulse that he does not take well. I was targeting the Koraidon right off the bat to get it out of the way. That being said, the Bruxish is just as effective later on, so I'm going to go ahead and preserve it for later. But I also don't particularly want him to get up the Trick Room, but I'm trying to think of what he might want to go for. I decided to go ahead and Dragon Pulse in the slot again, in case he decides to swap into Koraidon, which I doubt he would, because Tailwind Koraidon seems to be a very strong win condition for this team. So I'm sure I'll see it later. Luckily for me, I've got my own Whimsicott in the back that can set up the Tailwind in my favor, either during his Tailwind or when his Tailwind's over, whichever way that works out. Incineroar threatens Whimsicott and Farigiraf, and is immune to its other attacks, and doesn't take a lot from the Hyper Voice. As you see, that Assault Vest Incineroar just takes absolutely no damage from the Moonblast, and that Dragon Pulse wipes Farigiraf off the map, so now I don't have to deal with Trick Room. Which I feel like he wouldn't have set up just because he had Tailwind, but Armor Tail could be annoying either way. That being said, at least it is gone out of the way and finished, as he decides to bring in his next Pokemon. You know, I have really come to love Assault Vest Incineroar through the couple of times that I've used it, and he goes out into Chien-Pao. Let me tell you something, I'm okay with this, because even if I just protect Miraidon, whatever he goes for with Chien-Pao, the scariest thing he could go for on Incineroar is Sacred Sword, and I believe I live Sacred Sword plus Moonblast, and the worst case scenario is him having a Focus Sash. But remember, I preserved my Bruxish, so I have Aqua Jet, so I could care less what this Chien-Pao goes for. And I'm pretty sure he's going to target into Miraidon anyway. What's really cool is as long as I have that on the field, I can block any sucker punches with my dazzling ability. I decided to go into Bruxish on that slot, predicting him to... I'm not sure. I did not predict him to protect because I just wanted to go for Flare Blitz and knock something out. But it works out because he goes for the Encore onto Bruxish as I go for the knockoff here. And unfortunately, that does not do anything to Chi and Pao. But like I said, Flare Blitz is fine because knocking one of these two Pokemon out and having the Sun is phenomenal. But on this turn, I can just protect my own Bruxish. I was not sure at all what he wanted to do, but it works out in my favor. I'm not sure what he would have encored me into. Oh, he was encoring my Miraidon into Dragon Pulse. That's really smart, actually. We could say I saw that coming. I do live the Sacred Sword on 42 HP, and in comes the Moonblast, but it was directed at Bruxish, which I protected. And now, yeah, I'm going to lose Incineroar to my Flare Blitz recoil, and the Chi and Pao is Focus Sash as I thought. But that's not horrible, because guess what? Bruxish has done its job. It has protected my Miraidon from the Encore and locking me into Dragon Pulse to try to wear me down with Moonblasts. It has set up the combo into Aqua Jet into Absorb Bulb, and it's just been on the field overall long enough to just be really aggravating and annoying. So it's done everything I needed to do. Go ahead and Whimsicott right now. And like I said, this is the turn that even if he goes for Tailwind, I can go for my Tailwind, and now my Miraidon outspeeds. But not only can I set up Tailwind, I can also go ahead and Aqua Jet and knock that Chi and Pao out because he can't Sucker Punch because I have Dazzling. So that works out really, really well. His Sucker Punch is going to fail. And Whimsicott isn't going to outpace me with any attacking move, which means I can go ahead and knock Chi and Pao out, even if Whimsicott knocks out my Bruxish with a Moonblast. And then it's a Tailwind versus Tailwind fight, and then it doesn't matter anymore. In the back, he does have the Koraidon, but Chi and Pao is a much bigger threat, and I am very excited to see it go down. I do actually decide at the last minute to Moonblast, and then to do that. Go for the Aqua Jet, knock out the Chi and Pao even in the sun. This thing goes down. It was a major problem for my team, and I'm glad that thing's out of the way. My Miraidon is in the back. Now, you might be saying, well, Retro, he's got Koraidon in the back. Yeah, but Koraidon doesn't appreciate what I've got planned for him. Good job, my Redfish. You've done phenomenal in 2 battles. Take a very well-deserved rest, my Swedish fish. Shout-outs to you guys that like Swedish fish in the chat. I'm not a fan of them myself, but they are very reminiscent of Bruxish. The nickname is One Fish, Two Fish, Red Fish, Blue Fish, Dr. Seuss. Anyways, Koraidon comes in alongside the Whimsicott, and like I was talking about, even if he wants... So there's kind of a way this works. If he goes for Helping Hand, he forgoes his Tailwind, and I knock him out. If he goes for Tailwind, and then I go for Tailwind, Dragon Claw doesn't knock me out because he has to use Helping Hand to knock me out. And not only that, my Koraidon is 4 times super effective on him. So even if I just protect with my Miraidon and just attack directly with Whimsicott, I could knock it out that way. And then it's my Miraidon versus Whimsicott, which I also win. So it's a pretty good situation, a very, very bright future for this battle and the channel and this series and all the ongoing multiple Pokemon series on this channel. Let's see. So is he going to go for Tailwind or Helping Hand? Which one is he going to go for? That's one of those things. He really doesn't have a whole bunch of choice here. I feel like... Oh, he goes for Encore. Encoring me into Moonblast. I will gladly take an Encore into Moonblast. It's 4 times super effective on Koraidon. However, we're going to take a page out of the Scarlet Violet main story and Dragon Pulse this thing instead of Terra Dragon. We're going to go ahead and Dragon Pulse this thing and go for a Moonblast on Whimsicott. And from this range, he cannot live in Electro Drift, and that is the end of the game. Speaking of those shocking games, you guys should check if you're subscribed. If not, you should lightning strike that like button and that subscribe button. It'll be great to have you guys. Thank you for all the new subs, all the new watchers. And until next time, guys, on the next episode of Regulation G, Season 16, Pokemon Xenoverse, or Pokerogue, I'll see you guys next time. Take care, rate, comment, subscribe, And until next time, power on, power off.